Right now, somewhere in your house, you are alone in a room with a screen. Maybe you feel fine. Maybe you feel something heavier, something you can't quite name. You call it loneliness. You assume it's always existed. You assume your ancestors felt it too, sitting by some fire, staring at the dark. But the real answer is far stranger. Loneliness, as you experience it, might be one of the newest inventions in human history. Not new like the smartphone. New like agriculture. New like cities. New like the idea of a self that exists apart from a tribe. For most of the time humans have existed on this planet, you were never alone. Not really. Not in the way you are alone now. Your body was built for a world of about 150 people. That number comes from the anthropologist Robin Dunbar, who found that primate brain size predicts group size, and human brains predict a number right around 150 stable relationships. Not friends you scroll past. People whose faces you know, whose voices you'd recognize in the dark, whose survival was tied to yours. You didn't choose these people. You were born into them. For 200,000 years, give or take, humans lived in small, overlapping bands. You slept near others. You ate what others caught. There was no version of you that existed outside the group. The group was the unit of survival, not you. So here's the question. If solitude was almost never possible, how could loneliness, the specific ache of being cut off, have evolved at all? The answer comes from the psychologist John Cacioppo, who spent decades studying isolation before he died in 2018. Cacioppo didn't see loneliness as a flaw. He saw it as an alarm system. Just like hunger tells you your body needs food, loneliness tells you your body needs people. Alone, for most of human history, meant unprotected. No one to watch for predators while you slept. No one to share food during a bad season. Alone meant dead. Cacioppo's research showed that chronic loneliness raises cortisol, disrupts sleep, and increases the risk of early death by a margin comparable to smoking. Your body still treats disconnection as a 5-alarm fire. It doesn't know the century has changed. But here's the twist. If loneliness is just an ancient alarm bell, why does it feel so different today than it must have felt back then? Because back then, the alarm had an obvious cause and an obvious fix. You were separated from the band. You found your way back. The ache was temporary, situational, solvable. Today, you can be surrounded by people, scrolling through hundreds of faces on a screen, sitting in a crowded office, and still feel the alarm ringing. Why? The historian Fay Bound Alberti has traced how the word loneliness barely existed in English before the 1800s. Before that, there was onliness, which simply meant being alone, a neutral fact. Alberti argues that loneliness as an aching, chronic emotional state emerged alongside industrialization when people left villages of lifelong relationships and moved into cities of strangers. Read that again. The emotion didn't just get worse. It may have been partially invented or at least dramatically reshaped by a specific historical shift. For nearly all of human history, you lived among people who had known you since birth. Then, in the span of a few generations, humans began living among strangers who would forget them the moment they moved apartments. The band dissolved. The self, isolated and portable, was born. This is the modern mirror hiding inside the ancient story. Your ancestors' alarm system was built for small, stable, lifelong groups. You are asking that same ancient wiring to survive in a world of 6-month leases and friendships that live entirely inside a phone. It's not that you're broken, it's that the alarm was built for a world that mostly no longer exists. So what does this mean for you, scrolling on your phone, feeling that particular flavor of modern emptiness? It means the ache isn't a personal failure. It's a 5-alarm signal from a 200,000-year-old operating system running on hardware designed for tribes, now installed in a world of apartments and group chats. It also means something more hopeful. Cacioppo's later work found something almost tender in its implications. Loneliness isn't cured by being around more people. It's cured by feeling embedded in a group that would notice if you disappeared. That's it. That's the ancient formula. Someone who would notice. Your brain isn't asking you to fix a personality flaw. It's asking you to rebuild, in miniature, the thing it was designed for. A tribe. A few dozen people, not a few hundred followers, who would actually notice your absence. So the next time that ache shows up, at 11 p.m., scrolling, surrounded by digital faces but feeling strangely hollow, remember what it actually is. It's not proof that something is wrong with you. It's proof that something ancient in you is still working exactly as designed, still scanning for a tribe that modern life keeps making harder to find. Maybe loneliness isn't new because your ancestors didn't feel it. Maybe it's new because they almost never had the chance to. And maybe the cure was never a new invention at all. Maybe it's the oldest one you have. Right now, somewhere in your house, you are alone in a room with a screen. But your ancestors would recognize that ache immediately. They would just be surprised that you haven't already gone looking for your tribe.